back to the Autistic Exchange on the wireless. I'm your host, Abby, and I'm here with Fran Mutale. Hey, Fran, how are you doing?
Hi, Abby. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I'm well. I'm well. Fran, you are a singer, IT technician, designer, social media influencer, ambassador, runway, and commercial model. How do you do all of these things, and what inspired you into getting into modeling?
Well, I didn't start modeling because I actually wanted to model. I started modeling because to go to a show. At the time, it was Milestones by Asanda Mali. She was going to show off her line. And I was just like, Jesus, I need to be at that show. And I did not know the capacity in which I would be in the show. So I ended up going there. I don't even remember how it transpired, but all I knew is that I was going to be at that show. And tada, I was on stage instead and not in the crowd watching with everybody else. So yeah, I loved fashion, but modeling just happened. And I guess I was the perfect mannequin also. So that's how that inspired.
That's really interesting. You were going there as a viewer, but you just suddenly found yourself on stage. Did this modeling thing just come up to you naturally, or did you have to go for classes for it?
Okay, I never had to go for classes, and the first time I modeled was the first time I modeled, if that makes sense. So when I'm saying the first time I modeled, it was the show, um, and I guess Mali was looking for models that were my size. She couldn't find people that would fit, and it was always a curse growing up that clothes would not fit the way I wanted them to fit. And this is how I started making clothes me myself because I was just like, they don't fit the way I want them to fit. So I ended up in a position whereby I wanted to watch, but I clearly could not afford the ticket. And I became the show.
That's interesting. That's really, really interesting. Fran, what's your favorite part of modeling? Like, what what do you enjoy about it?
The confidence. So I think something happens when you are on stage, especially when it comes to runway. Something happens when you actually walk the catwalk. It gives you this attitude. You get this burst of confidence in you, and that's just for myself. It brings out a side of me that I initially did not think I had, or maybe that was being suppressed because it didn't have a chance to come out. I don't know if that makes sense.
Talking about confidence, you went ahead and modeled for La Duma, Book of Ben, Turkish Creations, Urban Doll Factory, and much more. What has been your favorite thing to model in that whole thing, amongst all of those groups of designers and
Oh,
photographers?
that is so tricky.
We
That
want the
is very
tea.
tricky. Look, I think every no, so I think every designer is different. When I'm saying every designer is different, I mean everybody brings their own thing. I remember wanting. Also, I think I should be very careful of the things that I say to God because I remember wanting Makasa so much, and when I did it, I was just like, oh my goodness, even this feels good. I don't think I have an entire favorite. I love photo shoots. And I think every experience has been different. So I can't really pinpoint one because every single one has taught me something about myself and has taught me how good I can be and how much better I could be. I don't know if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. Who would you want to model for next if you're given the chance?
Ooh, well, this is tricky. If I would model for any other, um, ooh, I've never thought of this. Okay, you're putting me on the spot, Abby. You're putting me on the spot. Um, oh dear. Okay, off the top of my head, it would probably be an international brand at this point. Because I felt as if Laduma for me was the peak for me when it came to South African brands. Sorry, Makosa. I think I would like an international brand. Maybe one from Perry or one that could be on the, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get you.
So one of those.
Okay, friend. When modeling with a partner, because in your pictures I've seen that you've modeled with partners. Do you have
Yeah.
to have a good relationship with your partner, or does it not matter?
For me personally, I think you could work with anyone, but there's something about synergy. There's something about working with somebody that you understand and they understand you, and it shows you're not acting. I don't know if this makes sense.
I
You're
get
not
you.
pretending. What you are doing there is showing off an art, and because you are both in good spirits and you're both on the same page, there's a high chance that whatever it is that you show in picture, you see, they say that pictures tell 1,000 stories, or they say a million words, or whatever the case might be. Pictures can tell you. You can tell when something connects. I don't know if this makes sense. Even on advertisements, without even words written there, you can be able to tell if these people really kind of do not get along. So most of the time, it matters for me the relationships, because majority of this is relationships, especially when it comes to art, um, especially in PE. That I remember somebody saying, one of my friends saying, "But all my friends are famous, but technically we're famous to ourselves because we are all in the same space." Um, so it's important to have good relationships in a good relationship.
Yeah, it makes things flow. Makes things flow. Um, Another thing that I wanted to ask you is when you're wearing heavy makeup, because some designers want you to wear heavy makeup, how do you how
Mm-hmm.
do you make yourself have like such flawless skin? How do you do it?
Okay, so it's not on my end. So it'll come to, for instance, I did one with, I did a photo shoot with Mali, not Mali the female, but Mali the guy, so the photographer. And I remember us going, and um, the late, what's his name? Is it Noel? He passed away. He did my makeup so fine. Like I have freckles. If you look closely at me, you'll find that I've got freckles on my face. But by the time he was done with my face, I was just like, I don't even recognize me at this point. So it's not something that I do in my own right. I'm not that great with makeup, but the makeup artists are artists in themselves. So they make sure that they blend everything. You look flawless. So it's not really on my end. I just maintain my skin after the fact, because heavy makeup does have an effect on your skin, especially if you do it too much.
Another thing that has an effect on you is your body and fitness. How important is fitness in your industry?
It is extremely important, and the reason being, um, it's all about the way you look. I know that sounds like vanity, and that sounds so vain, but it's about the way you look. So the pictures that are taken, they're not. Nobody's gonna hear your voice. Nobody's gonna hear us. They're gonna see the way you look. So fitness is important. So I go to the gym like 6 days in a week.
Do you see yourself as a role model, Fran? And how do you see yourself as a role model?
Um, honestly, I did not see myself as one. Um, it so happened when I met somebody that once said to me, I remember being in the bathroom with you, and the word that you spoke to me changed my life. And I stood there and I was just like, what did I say? What are these life changing? Say them to me so they can change my life as well. So I didn't see myself as one, but I do realize that there's always somebody that's watching, and so it's important to put your best foot forward. It's important to become the best version that God has designed for you to become. I don't know if that makes sense. It's important to just do it as though someone's watching, like God's watching. If you get what I'm
Everybody's
saying.
looking up to you. There's always somebody who's looking up to you here. Thank you so much for joining us, Fran. It's been a pleasure having you. But before we
It's a
go,
pleasure.
is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers or anyone who wants to get into modeling?
So I would say know your boundaries. Um, I would say find your passion. I would say don't lose faith. Just because something looks like something else now doesn't mean it won't grow into something. Like I said, I started off modeling because I wanted to watch a show. I didn't start off modeling because I wanted to model. I just happened to have the equipment to become a model, but it was not the plan. I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes
So I
sense.
think don't look down on yourself. Grab every opportunity and run with it. You are built to be amazing in this world. Everything that you desire to do, if you put your heart and God to it, you can definitely do it.
Thank
So
you
yeah.
so much. Thank you so much, Fran. You've really blessed us with all of these words and with your story on how you got into modeling and everything. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.